Hey guys, welcome back to the Captain Nick YouTube channel. This week we are going to take a look at the brand new Aeroplane Heaven Sabreliner add-on for P3D. Just went on sale last week, the end of last week, March, first week of March 2021. And this plane models the old T-39 Sabreliner business jet. Extremely popular at one time, and obviously you don't see them very often nowadays. Did go on sale, $36.95. I went ahead and picked it up. We'll just kind of go through. This is the website here, aeroplaneheaven.com. They've done a bunch of stuff in the past. I think they got a DC-3 and a whole bunch of warbirds and things like that. I believe they have a DC-3 coming out for MSFS as well, so that'll be one to look out for. Goes through just pretty much the normal stuff that you see on just about any plane nowadays. You know, technical requirements. You do have to run 4.4 or greater. You do need 2 gigs of RAM, so if you're running 4.4 and you don't have 2 gigs of RAM, then you probably shouldn't be running 4.4. 1066 gig or higher, obviously, the bigger the better. Multiple liveries. It does come with a bunch of different liveries for all the different models. It does come with 3 models. We have the 60, 65, and the original T-39. T-39 would be the original one that was delivered to the U.S. Air Force, Navy, the military. And then the 60 and 65 are the civilian variants that were turned into actual biz jets. Like I said, you do get multiple liveries. There's a whole bunch of them. We'll take a look at a couple of them. Full PBR is what it says. Interior models, just the normal blurbs that it says for everything, you know, highly accurate, fully detailed, fully functional cockpit, true to real-world aircraft. Every developer says this stuff now. Even Carinado says this on half of their junk, even though I fly it still. Full PBR on the exterior as well. Realistic removable animated pilots, accurate models, supercritical wing with correct flap actions and wing-mounted sprayed bakes. Cool. Bunch of screenshots. Bunch of interior cabin, interior night lighting. One thing we want to look at here, I want you guys to take note before we go take a look at anything else, is this is one of the screenshots that kind of sold me on the plane. So this is supposed to be the cabin in the flight deck. So here we have the VSI gauge and the HSI. And if we look at it, it may be hard to tell coming across on the video. You may have to pull this up on your own on the website. But it almost looks like there's little indentations where the lines would have been embossed into the actual gauge itself in the real world. And to me, that looks pretty cool. And maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but let's keep this in mind when we go back into the cockpit itself in the plane. And we'll close that out. Let's take a look at the manual. The manual is actually found inside the 65. So if you open that one up, I have it stored in the add-ons. I don't have it actually installed in the main directory, which you should never do anyways. Never install your V5 or V4 add-ons if you can help it in the main directory. So this is the manual. It leaves a little bit to be desired. We'll just go through it. It's got a blurb about the history. Got some pretty amazing screenshots. You're like, oh, that's awesome. You know, got the Air Force model, and then the delivery model, and then it looks like some sort of Army thingamajig. Continental one's pretty badass. Those are amazing colors. More blurbs, and then it just kind of goes through where everything's at. It is an old as dirt biz jet. As such, things are kind of placed weird by today's, where you would normally find stuff today. I think a lot of things as far as ergonomics go and crew resource management has changed over the years. Got the little speed markers that you can set. Just kind of goes through everything. All looks pretty good on the pictures here. Nothing amazing, but nothing trash either. It does have the ability to use the GTN 750 from Flight 1. You can install it into the deal to use it instead of this built-in 430 setup that they have from the stock deal. Would have been nice if it was a built-in Reality XP one, Because as everyone knows, the Flight 1 is terrible as far as updates go. And Reality XP is just slays them when it comes to that sort of stuff. Not only that, but it tends to perform a little bit better as far as your frame rates go. It does have the option as well to do the Rex weather radar, or Milviz weather radar, if you want to do that as well. Kind of a weird deal where it explains how to use and what an HSI is. I would think if you're picking up the Sabreliner, you would probably know a little bit about how the basic of that sort of gauge works. Now the flight director, that makes a whole lot of sense because some of these are extremely obtuse in how they function. It's got a one-page thing on how to fly. That's it, guys. Old as dirt. No speeds or anything else like that set up. Literally just a page. So it's got a thing on how to start it up real basic. 150 knots, rotate, gear up before 180. No flaps on takeoff, by the way. Does have speed brakes, approach at 150, touchdown 120 knots. The 65 has thrust reversers. And then it has 2 pages of checklists. Now that we've taken a look at that, let's go ahead and hop into the sim itself and let's take a look at the plane in person. Alright guys, so we have loaded into P3D here, and let's take a look at what it comes with. I got a ton of stuff installed in here, as you can see. There's all sorts of junk inside here. Oh, yeah, look at those Majestic ones. It's been a while since I've flown a Majestic, huh? Wow, maybe I should do that sometime. Milviz, Quality Wings, RJs. What do we got? Oh, Mad Dog. It's been a long time since I flew that bad boy too, and I have FS2 crew. And I think Val on our FSC Discord was talking about doing a shared cockpit flight in one of these bad boys on VATSIM, so should probably hop on that and do that. Hey, look, there's a Just Fight Piper. That's supposed to be coming out here any day now for the MSFS Fly Somewhere. So these are what we're going to compare the T39, the 1665 to. We have the Learjet. What was that? That was the MU2. This is a pretty badass plane. We have the Lear, and then we have the Falcon. The Lear and the Falcon and the MU2 are extremely well done systems-wise. They may not be the prettiest on the outside or the inside, but they function extremely well, great on your frames, and like I said, system-wise, they're extremely faithful to the originals. Oh yeah, there's that Super Cub. That thing was cool. ERJ. Where is this thing? This thing's got to be way the F up here. So anyone who thinks I hate on Carinado, look at all the Carinado stuff that I have installed on here. Labio. There they are. There's the B-17. But bam, B-17, boy. Anyway, so you get the 60 Continental. Takes a little bit to load. I think that's the one we're going to load into here. What do we got? 65. That's just kind of these are some of the business liveries. It's a cool looking livery. What's Sharky? Oh, it's got chromey. Oh, that's that chrome. Yeah. The T39 factory, so this is that delivery livery. You know what? We're going to do the Continental, because Continental, that's just really cool colors. So this is a Fort Randolph Air Force Base. This is literally all default. Alright guys, so welcome. We are now inside the simulator itself. I do have to run the 1024 whatever textures with this, otherwise I get a DXGI hung. Still running that 2070 Super. Would be nice to pick up the 3080, but you know how that is. So we'll start with the outside. So it looks like a Sabreliner. If you've ever seen a Sabreliner in person, this is what they look like. Looks like an itty bitty. It's kind of almost like a Falcon 20 kind of look. This livery is pretty well done. I mean, it's basic, right? It's Continental. Things don't quite match up 100%. I guess they kind of do, now that you take a look at that. But we're going to come to issue number 1 with the exterior. That is supposed to be a clear, and you can kind of, and I don't know if the compression of YouTube's just going to destroy this. It very well could. But you can barely make out the outline of the clear bubble around, and I don't even know if this records my mouse, right around the lights there on the wingtip. So I guess the question is, does 2048 and any of that stuff actually affect the way that the textures on the model look? So let's take a look here. Fuel only, jet fuel only is what it says. We're going to graphics. Come on, I said graphics. 1024. We'll put it up to high. Let's see what that does for this. Hopefully we don't get another hung. Does absolutely nothing. Yep, there we go. And I'm running texture streaming. So let's see what this does. This plane has cost me several times of just this. And this is the only plane that I currently own that does this to me. So that could be my system. Very well could be. Of course, now it's going to take forever to load everything back in. Yep, there we go. And then let's see. Defaults right back to what it is. None. AAA. It's 4K. So we'll just go back to what it was, what I normally run, 1024. Let's let this just reload itself completely. But this is real world. This is, you know, I don't want to edit out something and it not be what I've experienced. You know, I can only comment on what I've experienced, but this is the only plane that's consistently giving me this issue currently, which is weird because I, you know, Mad Dog and 717 and all that stuff does not really do this. But as we're saying, if we look at the deal here, you cannot see, you can barely see it there. There's a little bit of color difference between that. Overall, those textures are pretty low quality. There's PBR on it, of course. I mean, if you look at that chrome, that is actually one of the better looking chrome PBR textures I've seen. Problem is it's there's nothing to it besides the PBR part of it. I mean, underneath that is not very pretty. And some of the stuff is. I mean, like that Continental's not terribly done. The flag. Is the flag supposed to be like that? They forgot to flip that one. Flag. You know, it's got a little thing here about the fuel. Gonna back up. Let's take a look and see. It looks the part. It's just not very pretty. I mean, the model's not bad. Look, I mean, you don't see any weird edges or something like that. The texture job is just, well, I guess you kind of do on the wing root. It doesn't blend very well. And the crazy part is that all of that is completely contrasted by the wheels. Look at the wheels. Those wheel textures right there absolutely destroy every other texture on this plane. It's crazy how much effort they went into putting the wheel hub. That wheel hub looks amazing. But if you go and look at the wings, I mean, look. There's the little point's been hit up for single point, right? Everything else on here is absolutely trash in comparison. Absolutely trash. Stuff that you would think that we would be paying more attention to. Engine nacelles. I mean, look at the detail on that versus the detail on these wheels. Night and day. Absolutely night and day. Wheel well. Kind of hard to get all the way down underneath here to see and look up in them. But the wheel wells, as you can see as it's clipping through, are not terrible either. They're okay. I mean, you got a little bottle. Easiest one to actually look at is the nose gear. And it's decently modeled. The rest of that is 100% okay. But those wheels are absolutely ridiculous. That is a beautiful looking wheel. But the rest of the plane completely suffers because of it. Once again, we're missing the, well, it's there. It's just really hard to see. It's not outlined well. It should be maybe a little bit more hazy to make it out. Engines, if we look inside the engines, there's a blade. There's the rear. It's like a flat shading inside there. Little tail cone, I believe that is supposed to be another one of those clear pieces as well. And you can kind of barely see it. But once again, whatever they've done does not look very good. It's been a long time since I've seen a Sabreliner in person. And maybe it did have these giant static wicks. Those are some pretty out of control static wicks. They are massive on here. And it very well may be on the real one, so I'm not going to fault it for that one. Once again, these static wicks are not very well... They're modeled, but it's just kind of a flat, chromy, greeny, whatever, gold tip on it. If we move the rudder, get some deflection. Not very smooth. I mean, that's max right there, and I'm probably halfway in on the yoke. Same thing with the ailerons, probably about halfway on the yoke before it goes max on the deflection of the animation. Antennas, kind of a letdown on the exterior model. So let's hop into the inside and let's take a look at that real quick. Alright guys, so when we first load into the plane, you'll notice first off that the plane starts on. If we turn the track R, we've also switched to Tulsa here. Had a lot of problems at a Randolph there. See if this one... if we notice, look, everything is off. Battery switch off, radio instruments off, but yet somehow engines are still on. So I just cut the engines. Look at that synchroscope, still going. Electrical panel down here, the inverter's all off. But yet, we still have lit up buttons on here. So there's no power. In fact, let's do the parking brake. Set the parking brake. There's nothing going on. It is completely shut down. But yet here we are with lights on. So not super happy about that. But I guess it is what it is. And I mean, I don't really know what to say. I'm going to take track hour back off. There is no chase plane presets. And the very first thing you notice also when you get in is that there is no actual presets like a cold and dark or a ready to start or anything like that when you load in the plane. I would think in 2020, 2021 now, that would be kind of a given. Even the Carinado stuff comes that way. Let's see, is there a checklist? There is the checklist, which is nice. Got nothing loaded in, no mission, but it is a checklist, which is nice. And it's a checkable checklist. So we'll cut that. Let's take a look at the panel here. So I'm just going to use my controller here in Chase Plane to kind of take a look at everything. So remember when we talked about the 3D effect that was kind of being played in the screenshots, and I just don't see that in the textures and everything on here now. If you get it at a right angle, it almost looks like it. But it certainly doesn't have that embossed look on the numbers and the hash marks or anything on any of the stuff. It doesn't look bad. If you're used to fly somewhere stuff, it's really not terrible. It looks all pretty good. Is it at the level of like the Mad Dog or some of the other planes? No. But it all looks good. Hey, look, the clock is still running. All those lights are still on. I've yet to find a way to actually turn any of that stuff off. As you can see, that ball on the attitude indicator is 3D, as is the deviation on the HSI. Little numbers on your altimeter are 3D. All the switches, everything is 3D in here. Some weird little graphical deals. So look at those breakers. There's a couple breakers in the sides. Seats, they're kind of trashy looking. That yoke is not fugly, but it is what it is. Come down here to the electrical panel. Bus, batteries, everything is off. Yeah, we still got lights once again. Landing lights, track extend. The gear handle looks really nice though. It's got like a chromy translucent look to it. Now, if they had done the translucent stuff outside and that sort of setup, it'd probably look a whole lot better. Rudder pedals. Stuff kind of clips through. Not the end of the world, considering you're never going to really see it. Radio panel. And more breakers. If we look at the overhead, or I guess we'll start here actually with the cowl panel. It's okay. That's the 430. All the lights. Flight director mode selector. VHF. Fire handle. Windshield wipers. Hydraulic. Electrical master radio. Instruments. Lights. And then all the breakers in here as well. None of them are clickable as far as I can see or tell. Even that overhead. That is some weird light deals coming off those switches, the breakers. It does have a modeled interior, so if we go through, can we open that? I haven't really messed with that. No click spot as far as I can tell. Maybe it's on the other side. Storage for luggage. There's the exit. Let's open that up. That was kind of a weird sound effect. It's okay. All that wood's got a nice sheen to it. Any of these little switches? Nothing is clickable, it seems. Pretty basic. Cabin class. All right, we got 4 seats. And none of that really seems to do anything. Check the other side. Once again, nothing really does anything. No sunshades coming down. Which is just stuff that you see in a lot of the other business jet add-ons. And there we go. And then we're back out. So let's go back to where we were. Not real sure why my chase plane isn't going back to... I had a preset for it, but... Oh, is there presets now? Okay, they weren't here before. So the other day, when I was doing this... So we'll go with those presets. Are outside presets? There is. Nice. Well, thank you, chase plane. Thanks for getting on board, my friend. Now, there is some weird light, and that could just be the P3DV5 light anomaly, the weird stuff. Visors come down. Can't really move them around. They do have a little, looks like a little bit of texture on them of some sort of PBR. So back to the captains. So that's the interior. Let's give you a startup. We'll just follow the checklist and go through it, yeah? So I'm going to turn Chakar back on. See, to me, this just seems like you're so far back in comparison to where you really should be. Maybe even a little high, too, but my tracking is not so hot on here. So let's go to kneeboard. We'll go checklist. Pre-start parking brake is on. Ground. Battery master set. Ground or on? So if we go to the battery... That's on ground. So if we look outside, there's supposed to be a GPU, but I don't see a GPU. Oh, there is a GPU. It's out front there. Okay. Alright, parking brake on. Battery master set. Generator is... generators. Engine. Inverters to standby. Generator switch to on. So those lights are out. Inverter is already on standby. Throttle. My Bravo here, they are closed. Let's close the door. Why is the door not closing? Well, let's see if we can go and shut that door. Is there not a door click spot? There it goes. Awesome. So we are back. Let's go back to our checklist. Does it save it on the checklist? Does not. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuel selector is on fuselage, I believe. Fuel tank selector is on left, norm, left, right, fuse, fuel valve. Fuel valve. I forgot where they put it. It's fuel heat, engine, starter, switch, fuel valve, open, open. Fuel heat on, on. Starter, igniter, master ignition to on and on. Throttle should be in the locked position already. Throttle lock on. Throttle lock on. Electrical master on the overhead. Oh, it's the exact opposite of what is on my Honeycomb. So imagine that. Seatbelt sign was... Seatbelt is on. No smoking. Hydraulic power. Is on. Hydraulic pumps on. Speed brake, we're not going to test. Locks, hydraulic power off. Seatbelts, flaps are up. Let's see if they pulled up here. Airspeed indicator, we're not going to worry about the V-speeds. You can set the V-speeds here. Using the little color-coded guys. Okay, so you start with that, you just kind of move them around by using your mouse. You can also use the scroll wheel of your mouse, or you can just move them to wherever you need it to be. So we're not going to mess with that. Flight director should be in nav mode. So flight director is on the co-pilot side. But it does not let you select it, of course. Emergency gear handle is in. Gust lock. Trim. 2 to 3 degrees nose up. So, is there... We'll spin that trim wheel just a little bit. Position lights, we're not going to worry all about that. I'm not going to test the fire system, although I guess we could. Both push in. Read the manual. Fuel selector is going to be to normal. All the way up to norm. Engine master. On. Throttle close, starter depress. Let's start number 1. A lot of weird little light things going on here. The plane. Yeah, those sound effects are terrible. I'm not sure why we got these weird lighting effects going on. So that is that one on, and if we press number 2, we watch it spool up. RPM, it just is not a very pretty startup process. As you saw there, it sounded okay until it just cuts out of the blue. Instruments, check. Not too worried about it. It's good to go. Nav lights. Too worried about it. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take ourselves, we're going to turn our inverters on. Battery's back to on. Our little guy is now gone. Exterior lights, occlusion lights are on, alternate trim, gust lock is on. Pre-taxi, inverter, electrical gauges, navigation, altimeter set, parking brake off, chocks, etc. all removed. Check instruments, fuel selector, throttle, blah blah blah. Let's go ahead and we'll just take a quick startup. And we are off. So that is full power takeoff. What do they say, 115? Off we go. Gear up. A little bit of trim. Slats are now all the way up. That is it. We'll pull the throttle back. Pull it way back. Once again, we still can't see any of the clear portion on the outside there. So we're looking at about 2,000 pounds per hour, or 4,000 pounds per hour. That's a lot. These things are thirsty. Good visibility, which is nice, out of the cockpit there. So we'll pull the throttle back a little bit more. Level off. Let's see if the buttons map to our Bravo, and they do. And we'll just do heading hold and autopilot on. It should, in theory, hold what we're doing here. And there we go. Let's have a look outside at some of the lights. Extremely bland. That's just everything I can say about this plane. Bland. Why don't we take a look at the night lighting? Let's find haven't messed with it yet. I don't know where the instrument lighting is. I believe that is the landing lights that you can extend and retract. Right there. Both out now. Let's turn them on. Let's see what they look like. Got some taxi to landing mode. Nothing doesn't seem to light up right now. Anyways, let's change the time and date of the time here. Let's go to world, time and season. Of course, it's got to rebuild itself because that's what P3D does. Can't be cool like Flight Simulator and do it. So now we just wait. Yeah, if you made it this far, I would say this is not... So there's the dome light. I just hit the master light. Where are the instrument lights? That is... Flight instrument lights. That's a floodlight. We don't want the floodlight, right? So this lighting is okay. At best, it is okay. There's plenty of planes out there that look a lot better at night. You do get a nice little sheen, though, off some of the panel, some of the knobs. I do like that little lighting kind of glowy effect on some of them. They are lit up. So like if we do gear, let's throw the gear down. Let's just brake the plane. So in theory, those should light up here. Am I going too fast here? Slow her down and see if they come out. Just pull the throttle all the way out. Those should, in theory, light up here shortly. How are we still doing 250 miles an hour? There they go. Oh, now it's lighting up. Those are good sounds. And I do like the light effect on that. So, well, you know, let's go back to daytime here. I'm just going to pause this. And we'll go back to daytime. Middle of the day. Apply the preview time, yes. I think this is going to round this up. You know, hand flies pretty well. There's nothing exciting about the plane. And that's the exact opposite of what I can say about like the Fly Somewhere Lear or the Falcon, where it has its quirks. And, you know, there's certain ways you got to fly it. You got all the weird tank configuration. There's a million things that make me want to hop into the Learjet versus into this. And it's all the small things that it's missing, like the panel save states. There's no way for me to quickly shut this down. If I shut it down, I still get all the lights. It's like it's shut down, but it's not shut down. All the crashes. The crashes make no sense whatsoever on a plane. You know, how am I running out of VRAM at 1024 texture size in a plane that has that terrible outside textures? And it's not like the interior textures are amazing either. They're extremely passable. I mean, they're not bad. You get tons of little light, and you got the little speed brake, little knobs here. There's tons of things and little details that you see in there, but it's not amazing. You know, that part looks like it's 3D. The little etching there on the landing gear. So, and you can see the light kind of bounce around as we move around. See the little PBR on stuff. It all looks good, but it's just nothing amazing. And it's 2021, and if I want a bizjet, and I do, I love flying the bizjets, I just don't love this. There's nothing. It has no soul. There you go. That's what it is. It's like driving a modern Honda. You know, Honda in the 90s, if you're a racer boy, at least they had soul back then. Honda, the company today, I mean, look at the NSX. It's fugly. Look at the Civic Type R. It's fugly. It has no soul, and that's what this plane does. It has no soul. My recommendation is save your money unless they throw out an update and change some of this stuff and add some things. And you know, I mean, that could just very maybe be the way the plane actually is in real life. It just has no soul. It's you know, run of the mill. It's nothing. There's nothing super cool about it. It works, I guess. Sounds okay. It's just mediocre across the board. But yeah, it is what it is. So, you know, once again, if you guys have any comments, throw them down below. I always like talking to everyone. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe. We're trying to get some subscribers this year. We're going to try to put out consistent content. But I am an adult, and I have a real full-time job and other outside activities that I like to do. So we will attempt to put a deal out every week. I can't guarantee it, especially when I go on vacation here next month. Taking a trip to Vegas. And then hopefully we got a cruise going later on in the year. Maybe. We'll see. But anyways, if you have any comments, hit like, subscribe. We got more stuff coming out. Once again, this is Nick. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.